When you're flying IFR, especially using an advanced platform like the G1000 glass panel, you're mostly talking about navigating on the GPS. But the G1000 makes it easy and intuitive to incorporate ground-based VORs into your flight and situational awareness. Let's see how to do it in a flight over Sedona, Arizona. Let's go over to the MFD and pull up a nearby VOR. If we twist the outer knob of the FMS a few times, we get the nearest tab. We can then twist the inner knob to go through the pages in this tab to get the nearest VORs. The nearest one to our present position is the Flagstaff VOR, identifier FLG. With this one selected, we see that the screen populates a dotted and dashed line pointing from our aircraft to the station. Using the bearing arc on the screen, we see that the station is roughly bearing 10 degrees. That would be the direction to fly to go inbound to the station. At the bottom, we can see the frequency for the VOR. Let's set it into our nav1. We push the nav knob next to the PFD, which cycles between changing the standby frequencies for nav1 and 2. We set the frequency into number 1 and flip it to active. Remember that on the G1000, the active frequency is always the one on the inside of the screen. So for the nav, 113.85 is active, while over on the COM side on the right side of the PFD, 123.0 is active. So now, one easy thing we can do without changing up our main navigation source is go into PFD options and push bearing 1. This brings up a bearing pointer that just points the direction towards the station. Like we saw before, it shows about a 10-degree bearing. In fact, we can now look at the distance and bearing readout to the bottom left of the HSI to see the actual numbers. We can also bring up the DME distance by pushing that button. If we want to actually navigate off the VOR, we can push CDI to switch the source from GPS to the so-called raw data of the VOR, flying off the green needles. Now, just like a traditional VOR, we have an Omni bearing selector called just a course here. It's currently set on 360. If we want to twist it to get the needle centered with a 2 indication, in other words, set it to the course that will bring us inbound, we twist the inner knob here to set 012 degrees. We can then fly that heading and keep the needle centered as we follow in. Let's say instead of flying directly inbound, we want to intercept and track a certain radial, maybe the 210 radial. Since we're flying inbound, we want the course to be on the reciprocal of 210. What we can do is twist the course knob until the tail of the green needle is on 210, with the head pointing to 030 degrees. No math needed to get the reciprocal. Also, to fly an intercept heading, we can just visualize it on the HSI by flying a heading lining up with the top of the deflected needle. This gives us about a 45-degree intercept. We can arm the autopilot to capture the radial we've set by pushing nav. It'll stay on this heading until the needle comes alive and then flies us into the station along the radial. We can track the progress here on the MFD. There's that line again connecting us to the station. When it gets to 030, we'll be on our desired radial. Within 10 degrees of that, the needle will come alive, and as we get closer, the autopilot captures the VOR and will soon begin to get turned inbound on the radial with the green needle centered. So these are a few of the different ways you can use the VOR functionality on your next flight. I would say the major benefit of the technology is for added situational awareness, as you'll likely be still using GPS as your primary navigation source, but it never hurts to have the VORs up as a reality check. Check out Flight Insight online ground schools today, linked here and in the description, to join over 10,000 other pilots who are leveling up their flying every day.